So big weekend, huh?
In what way? What are you getting at
I'm
here?
just saying it's SummerSlam weekend.
Eh, it's a weekend.
Yeah.
I don't know if I'd call it big at this point. It's
It doesn't feel
the
like it.
biggest party of the summer is here at least. I guess that's something.
Yeah, yeah. And we'll get into a little bit of that, but it is Kris and Matt's Wrestling Pod 2.0 here on musicandmoonsaults.com. We are coming at you on a Tuesday this week. Things have been a little crazy with both of our, lives and work and everything like that. So, so some programming notes. We got this episode today that we wanted to get out. We didn't want to wait till the weekend to put this out because by that point, anyone who's traveling in for SummerSlam and whatnot is already here. So we want to make sure we got this laid down. We were supposed to come out last Friday, but just couldn't get the scheduling on my end. I screwed that one up. I will own that. And so we're doing it today and give you folks some tips and some places to avoid and some places maybe you want to try as far as food and just general know-how on about how to get from place to place if you're taking in multiple there are multiple things going on around SummerSlam. So and so make up for no show last Friday, I'm gonna have a couple and then next week I'm on vacation. So the plan is this today, and then I am going to do a solo review of the Cody Rhodes documentary because I don't trust this guy here.
Two things. One, you're springing this on me on the air. I don't even get to have a say in it. And two, you don't think I have journalistic integrity to give a fair and honest review of that documentary? I am insulted.
I read your texts.
Just because I didn't like it doesn't mean I can't give a fair and honest review. I have concrete reasons why I didn't like it. And it's not just I hate the neck tattoo. How dare you?
Okay. Mainly it's just I just want to put it on an extra video on the channel, and I didn't want to take up any more of your time.
After I watch the garbage that spews out of your mouth about this documentary, I'm taking time on our next episode to rebut.
That's fine.
You're glowing. He's the greatest ever, and his dad was the greatest champion of all time.
Those words aren't coming out of my mouth.
Whatever.
Those words aren't coming out of my mouth. So that hopefully will be coming sometime later this week. Then early next week, I should have a review of the new Mammoth WVH album that comes out on Friday. Pretty pumped up for that. I've been looking forward to that for a long time. And then next Friday, we'll have a special episode. No wrestling next Friday. Because Matt and I don't know if you've been following the channel for a while. A couple years ago, we did a fun episode regarding the Guns N' Roses Use Your Illusion albums, where we each made our own 10 or 11 track super album out of the two. And this year marks the 10-year anniversary of Justin Timberlake's 2020 Experience albums. The first one came out in March, and then I think the second one came out in September. So we're we're a little right around the time for the anniversary of the second one. But since I'll be on vacation, we're going to record, we're going to do the same thing. We're each going to make our own super album out of those two. So that's going to be a lot of fun. Talk some JT, and yeah, if something that absolutely bonkers happens at SummerSlam, I'm sure we'll find time to squeeze in some reaction to that. Otherwise, you won't hear any real wrestling talk from Matt and I for a couple weeks after today. So, just so you know,
I'm sure the listeners are excited about that too.
I'm sure.
Finally, we don't have to hear these idiots.
Yes. So yeah, it's SummerSlam, baby. This Saturday at Ford Field in Detroit, Michigan. And if you would have told me when they announced this that not only would I not be going, I wouldn't on the Tuesday before. I wouldn't even be like jonesing to go. I would have told you were insane. But that's where I'm at. And so I don't even really, I know we had talked about maybe, and if we have time after we do this, and I want us to definitely talk about the best thing in wrestling again this week. So I definitely want to make time for that.
Trying X on the world title?
No. He's going to get sued by Elon. And then
you got to have money to sue somebody.
That's true. Good point. So maybe we'll do. There's only 8 matches, but I think all the winners are pretty telegraphed. It's just there's no really need to really dive deep into this beforehand.
Yeah, well, I think that says a lot about the show. I really don't care what happens. In the past, there have been certain things like I'm interested to see. I really don't have a dog in any of these proverbial fights. Like, I just don't care. And you had mentioned, like, not jonesing. Yesterday, for about half an hour, I was like, I'm getting out of my wedding early enough where if I hauled ass, I could catch the back 2/3 of the show if I really wanted to. And then I went, no, I don't want to buy a ticket. I don't want to pay. I don't want to deal with all the headaches. Like, I don't even know if I get home in time. I don't even know if I'll throw it on TV. Which is sad.
I had a moment watching the aforementioned Cody Rhodes documentary when they got to the point about him coming back at WrestleMania last year. And I'm like, damn it, I want to be a part of that entrance in a big stadium like that. Like, I want to have that experience. And so I went on and I looked, and last week tickets were like, you could get a ticket for like $75 last week on secondary. And I was like, well, I mean, the card hasn't gotten any better. We're a week out. Maybe they've gone up in price. And I'm like, well, nope, there goes that. So, barring anything like any drastic dip in the market, like I don't think I'm, especially looking at parking prices earlier, to get anywhere close. It's just not worth it at this point for the card that they have on paper. So,
sure. Yep. And then part of me went too, like, I'm getting older, right? My mortality, my idea of my own mortality kicks in. And I go, this could be the last major WWE show I ever have a chance of going to attend. Maybe I should just suck it up. And then no. If I tomorrow, or well, not tomorrow because the show wouldn't have happened, but a month from now, I didn't miss anything.
Right. Yeah. So, we're gonna do is we're just kind of, again, there's not just SummerSlam. There's other things happening. There's WrestleCon. There's a GCW show. There's the Superstore. So we're kind of just gonna. We're gonna start on. The Superstore starts on Thursday actually. So if you want to head down there on Thursday, the address is 1001 Woodward Avenue. And that's open from, let me see here. I had that pulled up earlier.
Noon to 10. It's basically open noon to 10, and then 10 to 10 on Friday. And then the day of the show, it's open till 7 p.m. right before the SummerSlam starts. And then the following day, you can still shop until 2 p.m. You can
pick over the leftovers on Sunday morning till 2. So,
right. And if you're not from the area, or if 101 Woodward doesn't seem specific enough, if you know where Campus Martius is in Detroit, if you're kind of familiar with the area, it's right there.
Yeah.
It's not near Ford Field, and this is one of the things we're going to talk about. Is like this stuff is not all within walking distance of one another. You could walk it if you want to, but it's not going to be like, oh, it's right across the street. Like, you got a little bit of a walk.
It's not a terrible walk though.
Right.
We'll get there, but let's start on Friday. So let's say you're going to WrestleCon at the Huntington Place, and then you're wanting to head to GCW. that night.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
I got a little map here, and down here on the you can't see this, Matt. I'm sorry.
We have graphics though.
Yeah.
Look at you.
Yeah.
Look at you.
I've been doing that I've been doing it for months. Where I have a picture of the topic we're talking about.
I knew that. I just didn't know if you had the map. I meant like, here's the map.
Yeah.
This is no one cares about this. I'm just impressed that you actually did a little research.
I did. I went on. I mean, it's not fancy. I went on my iPhone app and I typed in, I even did change the time to like 7 p.m. Friday. So like, so I tried to get it as accurate as I could as far as what kind of traffic you might face. So it's about a 13-minute drive, if you're, parking real close to the Huntington place, just, it's pretty easy. It's up 75 and then over east on 94. And then you get off and Harpo's is, I think it's Harper Avenue is the.
I believe so. Yep.
Is the road.
And the venue is right off the highway. Like it's not you don't have to go through a bunch of neighborhoods or anything like that.
No, I've never been. Have you been to Harpo's before?
I have. It's been a while since I've been to Harpo's.
What's the parking situation around there?
Pretty sketchy. I'm not going to lie. The last time I was there, I don't know if it's gotten better over the last few years. The last time I was there, it was pretty sketchy. There's a parking lot right next to the building that was manned by one person who is just kind of waving you in. You pay him when you go in, and then your car's just kind of there. I remember there being a fence, but it wasn't like heavily secure. And then just down the road, you can park further down and not pay money, but then you're kind of at the will of the people who go by your car.
Yeah. I looked on the ParkWiz app, and there wasn't anything that came up when I searched Harpo's. So I'm like, oh, okay.
Yeah, and like I said, it's been a while since I've been there. There was a Family Dollar across the street that had parking behind it that I had seen people over the years try to park back there for concerts, but your stuff can get towed, it can get broken into. Harpo's is not in the nicest area of Detroit, but it's also, when you're with a large crowd of people, you've got some protection just in numbers.
Yes.
I would suggest if you're leaving early or getting there late, just be aware of your surroundings.
Yeah. Might be a good ride share opportunity too, instead of driving down there yourself.
That too.
Depending on where you're staying and stuff like that.
And one thing I want to mention, since we're talking parking situations and just kind of open lots, and this is going to be a rule of thumb for if you're downtown throughout the weekend, if you park in a place and they don't take your money as you're pulling in and you're leaving, and some guy is like, hey, that's going to be $15, don't pay that, man. He's trying to scam you. Every parking lot I've ever dealt with, if it's the app that Kris and I are going to talk about in a minute, or just the public lots where they've got a guy flagging you in and it says $20 when you come in, you pay up front, they give you your ticket, you go park. If you park and walk out and they're trying to, some guy is just like, no, that's $15, $50, whatever, be aware that you're probably being scammed.
Important safety tip from Matt Durr. Real quick too, I would assume, I mean, maybe some people might be staying in the city, but I would assume a lot of people probably staying in the suburbs someplace, whether it be a hotel or Airbnb or whatnot. Is there any traffic concerns, any kind of construction or anything major things going on from any of the ways, be it 75 or 94 or 96, anything?
The easiest way to put this, Kris, is it's a shit show everywhere you go.
True.
The traffic around the city right now, there's construction on parts of 94, there's stuff on 96, 75 and 275. When I looked at it, pretty much every direction that you're coming from to get into the city, you're probably looking at some sort of traffic backup because of construction. Now, Maybe on Saturday, because it's a weekend, they won't have crews out there and they know that traffic is going to be a little backed up. But even in those situations, you've got 4-lane highways that can be down to 2 lanes, just especially on 75 and 275. Mm-hmm. Those 2 roads, especially right now, are a mess. So if you pull up your Google Maps and you're trying to throw in, well, how long is it going to take to get from my hotel in Livonia down to the city? Keep in mind that unless you're doing like Kris said and you adjust those times to, the time of day that you're actually going to be leaving, you still probably want to build in like 10 or 15 minutes of time, because you're going to hit traffic somewhere. And even though those map programs do a good job of estimating it, they can't always tell when an additional 50,000 people are heading down to downtown Detroit on a random Saturday, when that just doesn't usually happen.
Right. I enjoy, usually if I'm doing in a situation like that, generally I use my Apple Maps app, but if I'm in a situation, Waze is one I like, because they're pretty good about adjusting on the fly if there's something heavy, because it's people reporting in real time, just tap it. Mm-hmm. Okay, here's this, boo boo, I'll report this, and it's usually pretty good about adjusting you on the fly.
The one thing, and this happened to my wife and I about 2 months ago, we were late for a wedding because of this, because there is so much construction in the area right now. If there's any sort of accident, even if someone puts in, oh, there's an accident up ahead, when Waze or Google Maps tries to reroute you, they're rerouting you into bad construction zones again.
Yeah.
If that makes any sense. Mm-hmm. So this is why I say if you're one of those people that's like, I need to get there early and I don't want to get stuck in traffic. If you can't stand being in backup, you're going to want to build an extra 20, 30 minutes into your time, just to make sure you get down there and you're not stressing to get in the building and stuff like that.
Right. Yeah, that sounds like, if you're coming like maybe from the west side of the state, or you're driving into the state from the west on 94, between Jackson and Dexter, just avoid, like, figure out a back way to get around it. It's bad. I'm just warning you. From personal experience.
Once you get past like the Battle Creek part of 94 coming in, you've got about 30 miles of highway driving, and then you can sit in traffic for 45 minutes.
Yeah. Yep. So, all right. So that's Friday night. Saturday morning.
Real quick, I do have 2 things. I do have 2 things WWE related on Friday.
Yes.
Some meet and greets that are out there too. So if you're not going to WrestleCon at Huntington Place, or even if you are going to those and you've got time earlier in the day on Friday at Great Lakes Crossing Mall up there in Auburn Hills, there's a meet and greet with Rhea Ripley and Seth freaking Rollins from noon to 2 o'clock. Rhea Ripley's doing from noon to 1 p.m. and then the next hour is from 1 to 2 is Seth Rollins. So you can come down there. You can get a chance to meet those fine folks.
Awesome. And that's Auburn Hills, you said. So that's way north of town.
Yeah. So this is, if you're not from the area, Auburn Hills is a good half an hour drive from the downtown area. And, I mean, it's a shot for you to get to meet some people, but also it's not an easy drive. And then that same day at Ford Field, and this is not a free thing, but there is a meet and greet VIP fundraiser opportunity with Liv Morgan and Mr. Neck Tattoo himself, the American Nightmare Cody, where you pay $150 to get into this fundraiser, but then you can do charity work that's going to help the community. They're doing some different things to help local charities and things. You can also pay $500 and get a VIP experience, but I'm not sure exactly all that goes into that.
Right.
But if you're looking to meet some WWE superstars because they're not going to be at WrestleCon, you've got a couple opportunities, and then on Saturday there's another one that we can talk about.
Yes. Yeah, on that note, my mom sent me a story from Channel 7 late last night that WWE is donating $20,000 each to 3 different Detroit youth programs.
How kind of them.
Yes. Just out of the kindness of their heart, I'm sure.
That Vince McMahon, he doesn't do anything to benefit himself. It's only for the like you said, the generosity of his heart.
Yes. Great Lakes Crossing, I will add this. It's a nice, at least last time I was there, it was pretty. It's an upscale mall. It's more like a. They got a cool Lego store. That's all that matters.
It's a giant outlet mall. It used to be a regular retail mall, but retail malls have died. It's an outlet store now. Nice place on the outside. There have been some incidents on the inside in the last few months.
Oh, has there?
So, yeah, there's been a few shootings at the mall there, Christopher.
Oh.
This is,
they don't call I don't watch the news.
Yeah, we're called the murder mittens for a reason,
Yeah, okay.
I don't think anyone was killed, but there, a couple weeks ago, there was too many people get together in crowds. You can't control them.
Look, it's not just Detroit. I'm just,
right.
We have things going on in our own backyard this week. So, yeah. But anyways, all right, on to Saturday. Again, WrestleCon from 9 to 2, I think.
Yep.
And also,
go ahead.
No, I was gonna say, and this goes for Friday too, I suppose. If you are like wanting to go in between there and check out the Superstore, this is only a 9-minute walk between the two, so that's not bad at all. I actually, when I did the research and saw it was a shorter walk from the Superstore to WrestleCon than it was from the Superstore to Ford Field, I thought, that's weird.
Yeah.
But yeah.
I'm a little curious why they didn't put the Superstore in Ford Field, because Ford Field is like there's office spaces and stuff that are used during the day. Like people could have walked in there. But.
Or I don't know. There's a giant like area at the arena that's not being used. Well, I guess when they were playing it, the arena was being used that day. So, but now it's not.
Yeah.
Real
nice. You and your Madonna digs. Real quick too, there's a meet and greet with Sami Zayn and Kevin Owens on Saturday morning.
I saw that. I'm like, I kind of want to do that one actually.
Yeah, they're not wrestling at the show, but they're going to be out meeting the folks from 9 to 11 in the morning at the Cricket Store at 48 East 14 Mile Road in Madison Heights.
Okay. All right.
Go meet your tag team champions.
And for the people, how far is Madison Heights from downtown?
You're looking at a good 20 minutes.
Okay.
It probably longer now that I'm thinking about it.
Right.
With traffic and things like that. You go ahead and I'll look that up to get an exact number.
Okay. And just looking at this map I pulled up here for the walk between the Huntington Place and the Superstar. Just, I see not too far. You got to make a little detour on your way, but there's an American Coney Island in the vicinity. If you want to, check that out. And, the Shake Shack is also over there by Campus Martius a little bit. Again, got to make a little detour out of your way, but it's over in the general vicinity. Yeah. Those are just a couple things that popped out at me when I was looking at this little map here. So.
Yep. And yeah, it's about 20 minutes from downtown, from Ford Field to the meet and greet up in Madison Heights. So it was right the first time. Yeah.
And then so like if you are coming down specifically for SummerSlam and you want to hit the Superstore again, like it's a 13-minute walk. Not awful. You can shave a couple minutes off if you want to walk up to the queue line, and then, but like it's like but really, how much time are you really going to save? Like literally, it was like a 2-minute difference. So
well, and look, that area of downtown Detroit is one of the nicest parts of the city. Like the
Yes.
walk down Woodward is gorgeous.
Yes.
It's worth your time if the weather's nice. You mentioned American Coney Island. That is the infamous American Coney Island, and right next door is Lafayette Coney Island. And if you're coming in from out of town and you like hot dogs, you kind of have to go to both.
Yes.
And then you have to form an opinion about which one you like more. There's a correct answer in this. I'm not gonna give my opinion because I don't want to influence the people that are coming in from out of town. But if you're gonna go get some hot dogs, go get one of each, and then let us know which one you like more.
There you go. Also, make sure you get a slice of Detroit style pizza while you're in town too.
I'm a Michigander, but I like Chicago. I like deep dish Chicago style. Sorry.
I like it too, but I love me some Detroit style.
Meh.
Whatever.
And while we're on the topic of food, if you are
Yes.
down in the area, you know, Kris mentioned the Coney Islands. He meant what was the other place you mentioned?
There's a Shake Shack like over.
Shake Shack. Not coincidentally, but you know, one of the things that has kind of become nice in the resurgence of Detroit, is there is quite a nice food scene in the area, and you can do high end stuff like Prime and Proper or San Morello right on Woodward there. You can go over to the Brakeman, which is like a craft beer bar, and right next to that there's this a chicken place attached to it that makes some phenomenal fried chicken. It's a little pricey because you're eating downtown Detroit, but you have options down there. You can go high end, sit down. You can go grab and go. Greektown, there's plenty of great eats in the Greektown area. Red Smoke Barbecue is one of my favorites. If you like Greek food, obviously Greektown. There's Pegasus Tavern. I believe Fishbones. It's been a minute since I've been to Greektown.
I think there's a Fishbones down there. Yeah.
Well, there was, but I don't. Sometimes I've walked by it and it's been closed, but that was kind of during the pandemic. So
Right.
I
know the Giordano, the Chicago pizza place closed.
Giordano's.
Yes.
But right next to that old building is a Buffalo Wild Wings. So if you're one of those, like I just like my B-dubs, that's a 10-minute walk from Ford Field.
There's a Five Guys down there too.
The Five Guys was closed the last time I went.
Really?
Yes. But again, this was coming out of the pandemic, but it was also a Friday night for a bachelor party. So I would assume on a Friday night in Detroit, they would be open if they were open.
That's a bummer. The Wahlburgers closed too, right?
Wahlburgers closed in Greektown, yeah. But some other stuff has come in.
If you're any kind of hockey fan, there's the Hockeytown Cafe right there on Woodward as well. Of course, Mom Spaghetti is right there as well. In the what's the name of that place that it's in attached to? Union something or other. Hold on. This is thrilling video and audio, I know, but
the point is there's a lot of great food options down there. If you get a chance to check out the Dime Store, that's a place I've always liked.
Union Assembly is what it's next to.
Union Assembly, yep. I'm also a big fan of the Hudson Cafe. Again, these are all kind of right in that Woodward area over by Campus Martius or over in the Greektown area. All this stuff is within a 10-15 minute walk of each other.
Yeah. I'm trying to find one place that we went, my wife and I went to when we went to
and I just looked it up. Five Guys and Fishbones are both still operating. They just, like I said, the last time I was down there was kind of coming out of COVID, so it wasn't sure one way or another if they remained open or not.
Oh, nice. There you go. Where the hell is that place? Oh well, I can't find it now. I can't remember the name of it. So there was a pizza place, and they did other stuff that my wife and I ate too. That was a little off the beaten path, but still in the area. when we went down for a comedy show last October, and I'm trying to look it up because it was a good place to eat, and now I can't find it. So, never mind.
Great work.
I'm a hack. It's okay.
Yeah, it's okay.
I did see. I didn't pull up a map for it. If you're at WrestleCon and you just want to go, I mean, there's a couple hours, so there's really no reason in between. There's a few hours in between, but maybe if you wanna, that we gotta get to parking. That's why I did it. You know, you might want to park further away, maybe closer to WrestleCon, and because parking closer to the stadium at this point is already bonkers. The best way, basically, though, is you gotta risk it and ride the people mover.
I mean, if you want an authentic Detroit experience,
you got to do it.
Doing the people mover is kind of like, yeah, you know, I saw our outdated public transportation system.
Yes. Now, next stop is.
Right. I mean, there's nothing like leaving Joe Louis Arena and hopping on the people mover and not knowing what kind of crowd you were going to have on there. We don't get that anymore. But,
no, we don't. We don't.
Now, you mentioned the parking. I haven't seen the prices. You said they've skyrocketed in the last couple of days. Where are you getting this information, and where people are willing to spend the money? Where would they go to reserve their spot?
All right, so here's my phone here. The Parkwiz. There we go. Right where the ring camera. There we go. Right in the center of the ring camera. The Parkwiz app is what I use, and it's pretty much tied to. Every major venue downtown. You just search Ford Field and it'll bring up every event coming up at Ford Field within the next few months. So Lions game, Metallica, you know, right at the top, obviously SummerSlam, and then it pulls you up where Ford Field is, and it gives you all the parking. Like the closest right now is $150.
Holy.
Yeah, to get right next to the stadium is $150.
Whoa.
And then at 95, there's some 60s. If you want to go out, let's see here. If you want to go way out, there's let's see here. Like that's a 23-minute walk. You can $20 you can park on West Jefferson. It's a 16-minute walk, but it's a covered lot. $18 over Renaissance Drive. That's a 17-minute walk. So
be prepared to pony up for parking. I know,
pony up or prepare to hoof it. Like
and also there are lots. You know, Beyonce was just here last week. And I dare say Beyonce is a bigger draw than the WWE.
Yes, I think that's safe to say.
There were lots at the Ford Field lots, not owned by Parkwiz, the app that Kris is talking about. The lots at Ford Field are first come, first serve, and they had Beyonce pricing at $50. But I've been to Lions games where those same lots are $150 too. So it's probably going to be dynamic pricing. It sucks, but you're going to be paying for parking.
Yeah.
And I know some people will say, well, then we'll just grab an Uber and get dropped off there. I can tell you from experience too, getting dropped off there isn't a problem. Finding enough Uber drivers in the city of Detroit at midnight on a Saturday can surprisingly be difficult.
Yeah, there you go. Well, there's an idea for you. You can go Uber.
Don't I have enough jobs? What are you doing? I got to do my 9 to 5. I got to shoot photos. I got to do your podcast. Now I'm going back to Ubering.
This isn't got news for you. This isn't a job because you ain't getting paid.
Well, I don't get paid for my other one either. So.
Well, true.
But yes, the ride share, it's a great idea, and I've never experienced this, but I have heard horror stories of people pre-booking ride share and then having it canceled while they're at the event, and then they're in the same boat as everyone else. So
Yeah.
if you don't want the stress of possibly missing out on a ride, maybe drive down there and just eat the $70 parking fee.
Right. Yep. I look too. The way they're set, at least in the lots I was looking at, like a lot of them won't let you park. Like if you want to go, if you want to be down there on Saturday from the start of WrestleCon all the way through SummerSlam, you're gonna end up having to move your car at some point. Like not a lot of lots are letting you book up that time from 9 a.m. all the way to midnight.
Yeah, the Park Whiz ones especially. If you find some of the randomly owned, lots in downtown where it's just a guy, like I said, guy with the flag, $40. If you get there early enough, you might be able to just say, hey man, I'm going to a few things down here. What's it going to cost me to park here all day? And usually those smaller ones, they don't care. Once they get you in, they want their money, and you're free to go.
Right.
One thing I wanted to bring up too is once you've parked there, we talked about the roads and we talked about construction and the expense of parking, but what time is a good time to get down there? Kris, you've been to a few events there. I've been to concerts and wrestling, and obviously WrestleMania was 16 years ago at this point. Right. So that's a little bit of a dated example, but we've been to concerts and football games there. The security to get into Ford Field can be super quick. I've also stood in line for 45 minutes to get through. And I believe doors for the show, I've heard, open at 6, but I'm not sure if that's entirely accurate, because I've also seen some people say their tickets say 7, but the pre-show starts at 7:30. That doesn't seem like a long enough time. I say all that to say, if you're one of these people who wants to check out the merch inside the stadium, you want to find your seat, you want to find the closest bathroom, so when you got to pee in the middle of Cody's match, you can find it and get back before the important stuff comes on. If you're just one of those people that I want to get my food beforehand, you're going to want to get down to Ford Field as close to when doors open as possible, because you can stand in line for half an hour, 45 minutes waiting to get through security. Then you're in the stadium and there's already a line in front of you everywhere you go.
Mm-hmm.
And if you're sitting in the upper sections, the way you get to your seat, you have to take a couple sets of escalators inside of Ford Field. It's not the easiest navigation once you're in the stadium. So if you want to make sure that you're set and ready and know where everything's at around you before the actual show starts, you're going to want to get down there a little earlier.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, definitely. That's why, though, too, I like that they do the Superstore, because that way you can, and even someone like, I think, wasn't Taylor Swift, doesn't she like open the stadium like the day before her concert start, so people can go in and get their merch and stuff?
Yeah, they set up the Tay-Tay Superstore launches like 4 days before the concert.
Yeah. And
the lines are like literally like a mile and a half long.
Mm-hmm.
Vince wishes he could promote like that.
Right. So I checked out there's another app called Spot Hero. And they've got some better some more favorable pricing. For instance, you can park in Greektown on Beaubien Boulevard. It's a little over a half mile walk, and it's $12.
That's not bad.
That's not bad. So yeah, there's other options. Let's see here. There's one on Gratiot that's about a half a mile away from the venue. That's $20. Yeah. So there's some ones here that aren't as pricey. So there's a couple different apps you can check out. I've said it before, I'm a big pay for parking ahead of time guy. Then that way I don't gotta worry about trying to find, when I'm down there and making sure I've got the cash to pay the dude and all that kind of stuff. So,
little parking hack if you're a gambler like myself and you spend time in the city regularly, or if you're coming in from out of town and you're making it a whole weekend thing and you're planning on gambling, check with Greektown, Greektown, MGM Grand, and Motor City. Motor City and MGM Grand are a little further from the stadium, but a lot of those places, if you do like $100 worth of gambling on your Players Club card in the days before the event, you can park for free sometimes. So if you're coming into town, check with, I think it's called Hollywood Casino at Greektown now.
Mm-hmm.
It's Greektown Casino. You can park there for free. Check in with their player services and just see what kind of money you have to spend in the casino so that you can park for free the next day during the game too.
Right.
Or during the match.
Right.
I use it when I go to football games because I'm a degenerate gambler. Sorry.
Motor City's cool to drive by though, especially at night.
Yeah, when it's all lit up.
Yeah. Is there anything else that we haven't touched on yet?
I've got kind of like the bag policy and stuff for the stadium.
That's going to be in your story though, right?
Yeah, that'll be in my story for work that comes out later this week. But.
So it just so happened that Matt's shoot job wanted him to write an article, kind of the same lines of this episode that we were. Part of the reason why we delayed it too is so that Matt could do some of his research for his story and bring it here to the show. So yeah, he's going to have an article coming out within the next day or so.
No, it'll probably be Thursday or Friday.
Okay.
It might even be the day of the show where,
right.
Just kind of looking at how our audience takes that sort of stuff in. But probably Friday Friday is what I'm guessing. Saturday morning at the absolute latest is when it would go out.
Well, yeah, so be on mlive.com. Be on the lookout for it. It'll be out there.
So nice of you to plug my stuff.
Hey, just trying to help you get paid.
This will be in the story, but I'd say for wrestling fans, maybe the couple things. You have to have clear plastic or PVC bags. They can't be bigger than 12 by 6 by 12. So like those drawstring bags might be a problem for you if you're big on those. We love to bring signs as wrestling fans. You can bring your signs. They can't be on sticks. You have to be able to hold them. And they do enforce like a don't block the people around you with your signs. Ford Field, from what I'm hearing, is actually pretty strict about that. They don't like fans blocking other people, which, if you've ever dealt with that at a wrestling show, you kind of like it.
Yeah.
Cameras, if you're taking, you want to take photos, your cell phone is obviously okay. They were allowing iPads and Kindles for Beyonce and Taylor Swift. I don't know if WWE would have a specific policy, but that's more of like a, for kids, keep them entertained. If you are bringing a camera, your lens cannot be longer than 5 inches. Never mind. I'm not going to make a joke there.
Just leave it alone.
And then obviously, if you have medical issues like that require you to carry medical equipment on you, those are permitted in the stadium. But if you're trying to bring in a bag of snacks or things like that, they're going to stop you and you're going to have to take it all the way back to your car.
Yeah.
So.
All right. Well, hopefully everyone gets down there safely and has a good time. So.
Yeah, it's exciting that it's here. It's just it's a bummer that it feels like the big four have become a big deal again, and it feels like we're getting like the crappiest one in a long time.
Yeah, we're getting shafted.
Which is exactly how WrestleMania felt too when it was here.
See, I think that was a hindsight thing. I think. Because leading into it, I was pumped. They could have had the worst WrestleMania of all time. I was pumped for that because it was WrestleMania at that time.
The Hall of Fame class that year was one of the worst they've ever done. The fan access that year was pathetic. Like, you remember, like, oh, look at the fans. They were out in Houston at WrestleMania Access, and Stone Cold came out. They didn't do any of that here. It was like, come do trivia and watch old matches, and Hillbilly Jim might show up. That's literally what Access was.
Yeah, no. Yeah, that part of it, yes. I agree that we kind of got screwed. I was just talking about the show itself.
Chris, they made us watch Kane versus the Great Khali.
Fair. That's a fair point. You're right.
You want to talk worst WrestleMania ever? Like, let's start there.
Can't argue. There's nothing that bad on paper, at least at this show. So, yay, I guess.
That's a fair point.
Anyways, all right. Let's talk about the real stuff. Saturday, we had a big last Saturday. We had a big tag team title match, and the match was almost secondary to everything else surrounding it. The big question was, win, lose, or draw. Were MJF and Adam Cole still going to be friends at the end of the night? And to my surprise, I think to a lot of people's surprise, not only did they not win the titles, but they're still friends.
Yeah. Friendship is in the air.
You know, they lose. MJF gets pinned, takes the bullet for Adam even. And like Adam kind of I guess he was assuming what was going to happen, which again, I have some questions about how this eventually plays out. Like, are we making sure we're Adam Cole's not going to look like a complete buffoon? but he kind of is like, all right, it's coming. And he turns his back, and MJF, he's got the belt, and he's like, you can tell he's thinking about blasting Adam in the back of the head with it, but then he decides not to, and the whole crowd is chanting "hug it out" at him, and that's exactly what they do. They hug it out, and I was like, okay, it's Adam Cole here. Are we going full NXT here? Are we waiting until the little signature pops up in the bottom corner of the screen, and that's when one of them's gonna, is Adam gonna pull the Shawn Michaels and just like super kick MJF a la Hulk Hogan here? What? And no, we just go off the air with them hugging, and yeah. And so, like, on the one hand, I'm glad that this is continuing. On the other hand, I'm not sure what the point of continuing it if they didn't win the belts is. I guess I'm just interested. I want to see where they go from here, but I'm also worried about where they go from here.
I don't know that the payoff is going to be satisfactory.
Yeah.
But everything leading up to it has been great. So I'm just kind of enjoying it. Like, I think sometimes as wrestling fans, we get too caught up in like, well, where are they going with this? Or how, and I am extremely guilty of falling in that. This is just, it came out of nowhere. It's entertaining. It's given both of them an opportunity to do something they don't typically do a lot of. Adam Cole hasn't been a babyface very often in the last, in his entirety that I've known of him. He's typically a heel, and he's a dirtball heel when he's doing it. So to kind of see him as like trying to be the good guy is nice. Obviously, Max, playing up to the crowd, hugging people, high-fiving. Like, we know that eventually he's going to go back to being the devil. But this is a great way to let him just kind of show that side, have some fun with it. He said he's going to give Adam a rematch at the belt. That's probably going to be where the split actually happens, and then people will be upset. But if we get another 2, 3, 4 weeks of just them being goofy and having fun together, when MJF called Roddy a caw, I was dead. Because first of all, it's not caw. It's CAW. You say it out. but like he's not a video game guy, so like
Yeah.
this shot, it's even better because he's so wrong. He's trying to be like, yeah, I get video games now, and he's just way off. Like, give me a couple, 3-4 weeks more of that, and then if you got to split them up, you split them up. But if there's a way to keep this together, I don't think it's a bad idea either. Especially when you've got the real world champion out here calling out Max, who's clearly moving towards more of a heel role. Maybe you want to keep Max on the babyface side for a little while.
Yeah, so a couple things on that. What I thought they were going to do, because I did watch Phil's promo as well. Those pretty much the only two things I watched from Collision this week.
That's all you needed to watch.
Fair. I thought they might do is, seeing as, again, we've got Wembley and we've got All Out like within a week of each other. What I thought they might do is they do Adam and MJF and Punk and Ricky at Wembley, and then the winners of those two, kind of not an actual tournament, but a quasi tournament, and then the winners of those two matches face each other for the undisputed real AEW Triple B champion at All Out. They're doing the Ricky match on Collision next week, which is probably the better place for it. I mean, so maybe that's not. I still think they probably do Adam and MJF at Wembley, but I mean, maybe they push it to All Out. But then what do you do? Maybe you have them in a high profile. It just kind of feels like All Out has to be MJF and Punk. You got to figure out a way to get there in the next month.
Maybe that's probably where they're going. When I saw Punk spray paint the X and start calling himself the real champion, my mind went, what if there's two world champions running around and MJF just flat out refuses to acknowledge CM Punk, and CM Punk is just, I'm the real champion, and Max is just like, no, you're not, and I'm not gonna fight you. I don't have to prove myself, and Punk is just like, well, I don't have to prove myself. Then you can do an MJF world title match at All In. You can do the Punk world title match at All Out, because it's going to be in his hometown. He's probably not going to get booed. Maybe he will, but probably not. And then you can be on this course of like, CM Punk says he's the real world champion, but neither one of them wants to give in to face the other.
Mm-hmm. You could also maybe figure out a way where MJF convinces Cole to go after Punk.
There you go. Like, that's another one. Why, you're my friend, go get that belt from that scumbag who says he's the real champion when everyone knows I'm the real world.
And then we
champion.
both could be champions. We're the AEW world champions.
I mean, you laugh at it, but like, seeing how they've worked together so far, wouldn't you be up for seeing that for a few weeks?
Oh, definitely. That'd be great. And the other thing I've seen float around, and I don't know how I feel about this, because we finally have this. It's something I've waited for, and I think he's good at it. But I've seen a lot of people saying that it's going to be Adam who's going to turn heel in this, and that he's going to betray MJF, and now we'll actually get the MJF babyface run. I'm liking, like, he's been so popular, Adam has, as a heel. Like, it's nice that he's finally getting this babyface run, and I think he's doing a pretty good job with it. And I'd like to I don't know if I want to see him turn heel already.
Neither do I. Look, the comparison, it gets made too much, but like, I feel like he should be their mid-90s Shawn Michaels. He's a good guy with a little bit of an edge if he needs it, but like, just let people remember why they were so excited about Adam Cole when he came into the company. For whatever reasons you want to choose, you can't deny that the hype around him was dying before he got hurt.
Mm-hmm.
And he's come back, and it seems like he's starting to get it going. But like, let him be a babyface. Let him go out there and show people why, guys like us were like, he's a game changer.
Mm-hmm.
And going up against a Maxwell Jacob Friedman in a high profile feud where he's the babyface in it, I feel like would be a good way to go. But at the same time, how do you deny that people are, every time they tease Max going babyface, people are here for it. So
yeah. So I don't know. We'll see. Like I said, I'm definitely, I want to see where it goes. And you're right. I should probably just enjoy the ride, but it's easier said than done sometimes with this stuff. So especially when it like Adam's my guy, So I'm very, very protective.
Neck tattoo is 1A. Adam Cole's 1B.
Yeah, I mean, pretty much. It used to be flipped, but because of Bebe being out so long with his injury, kind of flipped back the other way. So
it is a little, and we talk about this with AEW all the time. This is clearly the biggest show they've ever done. It's a little weird that we're like 3.5 weeks away and we don't know anything about it.
We don't know any matches. We don't even know officially how you can watch it. There's been reports about Comcast and DirecTV.
Pay-per-view.
I'm sorry, though. Like, I hope this is a tightrope they're going to walk, man. If they're asking people to pay $100 between two shows within 8 days of each other or whatever it ends up being, like, I don't know, man. I hope it works for them, but you got to have stuff that people are willing to plop that kind of money down for. And the way they book, they can't build one show like that, let alone two within a week. Like, I'm nervous about it.
Did you hear Bubba's theory of what he'd like to see them do for All Out or All In?
It must be good if you're bringing it up.
It was interesting. They've already sold 70,000 seats. I think SRS
like 80,000.
Yeah, I was just going to say that, like, SRS says they're going to be near 80 by the time it actually goes off. They haven't announced a single match. Bubba was like, wouldn't it be kind of cool if they didn't announce a single match at all for the show, and it was just this guy walks to the ring and who's going to face this guy? It could create for some oh my God moments, and it's never really been done before. But the home audience, there's no way in hell I'm shelling that kind of money out. Even though it's only $50, I'm not paying $50 for something I have no idea what's on the card.
Exactly. If it were, on Max or whatever, perfect. That'd be great. But yeah, if you're asking me to shell out $50 for it, no, I need to know what I'm watching, and there needs to be some sort of build on the way to get there.
I need to know who CM Punk is wrestling before he gets hurt again, okay?
That too. There are people.
You know what they should do? They should just put a live camera in the locker rooms at this show and charge people $40 to see what happens if the Bucks and Punk come across each other in the hallway.
Right. There were people, and it's hard to tell if people are being serious or not on the internet half the time, because on the one hand, it's kind of stupid, but the other hand, people are that stupid sometimes. But there were people going, "Oh my God, did you see? He drew that X right over the E in the AEW logo."
Like, not that it's the center letter in AEW. No. It was just about the elite. Like, whatever.
Yeah.
Look. Phil is the peacemaker in this situation. Remember, he volunteered to work blood and guts.
Yeah.
Because they needed a fifth man. Okay.
Yes. Yeah. Right. Yes. Mister, I'm in fear for my safety. Unsafe work environment.
Whatever. Shawn Michaels is your hero, and he used to pull that crap.
That's the joke. Thank you.
I know.
All right. Yeah. Let's. Anything else? I don't think so.
No. If you're going down to SummerSlam, guys, or you're going to WrestleCon, GCW, any of the stuff, have fun, be safe, enjoy Detroit. We made jokes about unsafe and downtown Detroit's a great area. You're gonna have a good time.
Yes. Yeah, the majority of the things are gonna be this weekend. You're gonna be okay. Yeah. So don't. Yeah. And just if you're going to SummerSlam, by all means, like enjoy it. Be loud. Be so loud. Like, and that's like again, we've talked about it a million times, but that's the hardest thing about me not going is that I want to support it because I don't want to wait another. What's it been?
16.
Well, no. Well, yeah. Well, I'm thinking because the Rumble was 2009, so 14 years.
Well, no, there was Hell in a Cell.
Right, but that's not a Big Four. I'm talking about the big.
Oh yeah,
specifically the Big Four. But yeah, I guess any pay-per-view. But yeah, it's been 14 years since we got a Big Four. Like I don't want it to be another 14 years before we get another Big Four pay-per-view. Like I'd like to get a Rumble, even though January in Detroit not great, but they've done it. They've done it here before, and they've done, Philly and stuff like that in January too. So
they're doing WrestleMania in Philadelphia in April. It's not like it's super warm in Philadelphia in late March, early April.
They're talking about Minnesota in a couple years. But I think that's an indoor arena though, or a stadium. So, anyways, the point is, I want to support it. I want them to come back, but also I want them to give me something to be excited for, and they just haven't done it. So, and I'm going to tell you when AEW does it, a la, not buying Revolution and whatnot, and I'm going to tell you when WWE's not doing it, and that means no ticket for Kris to go see SummerSlam. So,
I mean, if you wanted to see a real Big Four, you could just drive out to Chicago with me and go see one of the 8 million Chicago shows from AEW. Go check out All Out.
I could.
That's a Big Four.
Yeah, that's all right.
Son of a
bitch. Yeah. All right. Let's get out of here. We'll be back in a couple weeks to talk wrestling, but we'll be back next week. Talk some Justin Timberlake. Woo! Some real stuff.
I can't stop this feeling.
Yeah. That song won't be discussed, but that's okay.
Thanks.
Whatever. All right. Bye.